last night. Let's listen in. All right, we don't have the Glendale Police Department up just yet, but here's what we know just about an hour ago. The mugshot for the accused shooter, 20-year-old Armando Hernandez, was released, and we learned that he is facing more than 10 felony charges, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon causing serious physical injury. Each of those 3 charges could carry a prison sentence of up to 21 years each if found guilty. Now let's go to that press conference.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. Last night, we received a call that we never want to get, an active shooter situation where multiple lives were at risk. In less than 10 minutes, our officers were on scene and managed to take the suspect into custody. This is a prime example of how we were able to work together as a team to save lives and reduce the risk of injury to others. Words cannot express the pride I have in all of my officers. They not only did their jobs last night, they did their jobs well. Because of this, we were able to not only make the arrest, but assure our community that they were safe. We also want to recognize the other agencies who aided us last night. I'm sure I'm going to miss some, and I'll apologize now. Phoenix, Peoria, MCSO, El Mirage, Buckeye, DPS, Goodyear, and our federal partners at the FBI and ATF. We're all brothers and sisters in this together with a common goal, and that's to keep our communities safe. Last night, we worked together as a team, and we're very grateful for their assistance and what they provided to us last night. Thank you.
Up next, we have Chief Terry Garrison with the Glendale Fire Department.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Chief, for mentioning our response partners. What I wanted to talk about a little bit this morning is that as a fire department and a police department, we train daily and work together daily in the streets, from the calls that are small to the calls like this that can be very large or potentially be large. We've been training together over the last several years with our active shooter incident. And in fact, just a few months ago, we coordinated our training with the police department in the city of Glendale here and with our response partners throughout the valley. So we've been training. We hope we never have to use that training, but we've been training and really deciding how we respond together as a coordinated group. You can imagine how complicated things are when you have a shooter at the scene. You have people that you're trying to protect. And we work together very well to do that. So we come together to manage the incident, to get the bad guy, eliminate the shooter in this case, to keep the person safe, keep everybody at that incident safe and calm as much as we can, to treat and to transport the victims. We do that all in a way that makes sense to us, and we also take care and make sure that our firefighters are safe and our police officers are safe. We were able to come together and do this last night because we train together daily. I also would like to thank our response partners. It was just, I guess, one of those events that could have been a lot worse. And because we trained together, because we worked together, I'm just sorry for those victims that did suffer any type of injuries. Our hearts as firefighters and police officers go out to them and their families, and thank you very much.
Up next, we have Mayor Jerry Wires.
Good morning, everyone. I do have this scripted out because I don't want to leave anything out, but I do have to tell you a couple things that are not on my script. Last night, within a minute or so of this happening, I got a call from the Arizona Republic reporter asking me about what was going on. He told me what was going on, and then immediately my phone blew up from our city management. And so I want to thank the Arizona Republic for that reporter reaching out to me immediately. That got me a head start on this. And then secondly, I do want to thank the governor's office. While I was at the scene last night, the governor's office called, very concerned about what was going on, wanting to know what the governor's office could do on their staff. And so we're very appreciative to Governor Ducey, his staff, for making that happen. So with that, again, all of you know that last night our community was attacked by a very senseless act of violence. On behalf of our city council, all of our Glendale residents, I want to send our thoughts and our prayers to the victims and their families. You have our love and our support. We're standing with you, and we're certainly praying for you. And I've gotten so many responses from so many different people sending their prayers and thoughts to the people that were affected last night. As we begin to emerge from our homes in our public spaces again, evil acts like this have a very, very fearful and paralyzing effect. Now, if we let them, and I'm asking all of you, please don't give in to fear. Don't allow senseless acts like this to change your habits. We have a safe city, we have a wonderful city, and we're going to continue to do that with our police. I want to assure everyone that this was a very isolated incident. Our community is a safe community. Westgate is very safe, and we're going to keep it safe. I remain committed to ensuring that our public safety departments continue to have the manpower and the resources they need to protect the lives, the property of our residents, our businesses, and our visitors. And last night was overwhelmingly incredibly sight to see all the agencies working together. I was so proud of our police department, our fire department, and the agencies that participated. I do want to thank, again, all of the amazing men and women from the Glendale Police Department, our Glendale Fire Department, and all of our partnering agencies who responded in such a timely manner last night. Their extensive training, the immediate response allowed them to quickly secure the scene, which prevented additional people from being affected. I'm grateful for all the messages of support again from our governor, the Arizona mayors, and all the mayors from across our great nation that have reached out to us. In the last 12 hours, I've heard from business leaders, community leaders from across our state, all sharing the very same message. Arizona will not give in to fear in times like this. And that's something I want everybody to understand. We're not going to give in to fear like this. Instead, we're going to stand together. We're going to emerge stronger, and we're going to be more unified. And I want to thank everybody for being here today. Get that message out. Let our citizens and people that visit Glendale know that we're a great city. Thank you.
So as you can imagine, the mayor as well as the chiefs, their schedule is quite full today. So we're going to have them leave right now. And then we have Sergeant Randy Stewart available. He is going to update you all as far as where we're at with the investigation and take any questions at that time. So Sergeant Randy Stewart.
Good afternoon. I'm going to provide you a briefing of the information that we have so far. Just keep in mind that this is still very early in the investigation, and there's still a lot of information that we are trying to gather. About 7:25 p.m. last night, we got several 911 calls of an active shooter. The active shooter was at Westgate Entertainment District near 95th Avenue in Glendale. Within a minute of that call being received, it was dispatched, and officers arrived on scene within 5 minutes of the call. The first responding officers, there was 2 of them that responded initially first. When they arrived, one of the officers, which is a lieutenant, located the suspect immediately and was able to take him into custody without any further incident. The suspect did, in this case, later admit to detectives that he was planning on going to Westgate to harm 10 victims with this horrendous act. As this was going on simultaneously, other officers responded and started helping to provide first aid with the victims. What I could tell you about the victims at this point is that there was a 19-year-old adult male. That male was transported to a local hospital with life-threatening injuries and still remains in critical condition. There was a 16-year-old female. That female was transported to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And there was a 30-year-old adult female victim that was on scene and did not require hospitalization and was not transported. Again, as we mentioned before, several agencies responded to this location and quickly helped and diligently helped to search all areas of Westgate to make sure that the situation was contained, that there were no other outstanding victims, and with limited information we had at that time, we made sure that there were no other suspects involved. We did have a shelter in place last night. We did lift that shelter in place around midnight. So it took about 5 hours to clear the entire district with all the help that we have to ensure the safety. I can tell you since then, the investigation has concluded at that location as far as the crime scene, and the businesses are now open. The shooter, he has been identified as 20-year-old Armando Hernandez Jr. He is a Peoria resident. Investigators worked tirelessly throughout the night. They investigated the scene at the Westgate Entertainment District, which, as you can imagine, is very extensive. They also located the suspect's vehicle and also conducted investigation at the suspect's home. Hernandez admitted that he was the shooter in this case. He said that he went to Westgate to target victims. He wanted to gain some respect, and he felt that he had been bullied in his life. He had actually arrived at the Westgate, went into the entertainment district, and started scoping out the scene before returning to his vehicle to gather his weapon. When he went to the vehicle, he loaded 3 rifle magazines to capacity. Mr. Hernandez is facing 16 felony charges currently. Now, those charges could increase as the investigation goes on if there's any further evidence that is uncovered. To go through the charges that are currently, he was charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault causing serious injury, 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 5 counts of discharging the firearm, 2 counts of felony criminal damage, and 1 count of disorderly conduct with a weapon. Again, the investigation is still ongoing at this time, and it'll take quite some time to gather through all the evidence. We are aware of the social media that the suspect put out. We have identified that suspect as being that person that was involved in that video. And we are looking into gathering any further evidence that might have been put out on video. In addition, we are asking for anybody that has firsthand information about the incident, firsthand information about videos, to please contact the Glendale Police Department. We'll be providing a press release, and in that press release, we will be given a link where citizens can upload that video. So at this time, I'll open it up to any questions that anybody might have.
Is there anything you can tell us about the weapon, and were any other weapons recovered at his address?
What I can tell you right now is there was a black assault rifle that was recovered on scene. I don't have information on any other weapons that might have been involved or at his home at this time.
Sergeant, why the number 10? Why did he want to harm 10 people? And the 3 people who were hurt, were they specifically targeted?
So we don't have all the details at this point on that. We'll be looking into it, but I don't know for sure exactly why the suspect decided 10 people.
Will this be treated as a terrorism incident by chance with the FBI getting involved?
So the investigation, again, is early on going. We are working with FBI officials, but at this time we are charging the state charges as mentioned.
Sergeant, any idea why you picked last night, Wednesday night?
I don't have information on that at this time. Again, this is early in the investigation, so we still have a lot of information to go through. Yes.
I know that within the charges there was something about the transformer or something like that. There was also a power outage last night in Glendale. Is there any correlation between those two?
So there is a correlation. There was a power transformer at Westgate. During the shooting, he shot one of the transformers. This was near one of the victims that he shot. So it could have been a stray round that went through a door to the transformer behind the area that it was secured at. That caused the power to go out. Since then, the power has been restored.
Were any officers at Westgate during the time of the shooting? And secondly, there are a lot of private security guards on site there. What role do they have, if any, in responding?
So So what I could tell you is there are security, as you mentioned, that will be on site. I don't know exactly the numbers or the details to that. The Glendale Police Department did not have anybody, to my knowledge, that was working at Westgate at that particular time.
And 5 minutes response time, I'm sure for people there in the moment, probably felt like an eternity. How does that compare to your standards as a police department in a shooting situation?
So 5-minute response time, you just have to keep in mind everything that's involved in a call. First of all, our 911 was flooded with 911 calls. They have to take that information, dictate it to our dispatcher who dispatches that information. The officers receive that information, have to figure out the location, which is usually given out pretty quickly, and then respond, which, as you know, at 7 o'clock in the afternoon, we could still be facing traffic, even with emergency responses. Then once on scene, you have to navigate through the Westgate and then finally locate the suspect. So understanding that would be a long time for some people on scene, but that was actually a very quick response.
And given Westgate's prominence, do Glendale Police typically have officers there during the week? And should there have been an officer around that area?
Well, those are only things that we'll look forward to in the future to look at. I can tell you that they do hire off-duty officers, but I don't have all the details to when they hire them.
Could he talk about why he chose Westgate?
So I don't have the information at this time of why he chose it. Again, we're still early in the investigation.
Does Hernandez Jr. ever on anybody's radar about a potential person to do something like this?
So our investigators will be looking at that, but that will be uncovered later. I don't have the information at this time.
Sergeant, can you walk us through a little more how he was taken into custody, what part of the district, and did he just surrender, or how'd that play out?
So he started on the east side of the Westgate district, made his way through the Westgate district to the west side. And there he was contacted by the lieutenant who pulled up on scene, who was the second responding officer on scene, who identified him. What I can tell you is they took him into custody. He was compliant with the officer's commands and was taken into custody without any further incident.
Was it the east-north side that he entered, east-south? Are you able to give it any more description?
It was the east, kind of towards the center.
Towards the center, and then he exits towards the center on the west?
Yes, in that area.
He said he wanted to harm, he mentioned wanting to harm 10 people. Did he have any intention of killing 10 people?
I don't know all the details to what he said to the investigators. I could just tell you that he did say that he was trying to harm 10 people.
One of the 3 victims, he said, did not go to the hospital?
Yes.
So were they shot or injured in another way?
The person was shot with minor injuries.
Can you give us any idea on how many gunshots total we're talking about?
I don't know at this point. The investigators have just finally finished combing through that crime scene this morning. It'll take some time to gather all that information.
What was the make of the rifle?
We don't know exactly the make of the rifle. I can tell you that it was a black assault rifle.
Did responding officers hear gunfire when they arrived? And if not, is there any indication why he stopped firing?
I don't know exactly why he stopped firing. He did mention to the investigators that he gave up when he saw the officers responding.
Was he hiding when the lieutenant encountered him?
No.
And how did you send the shelter-in-place order? Is that something that happens after police arrive and they just simply tell everyone in the physical area shelter-in-place, or was there some kind of other order?
So anytime we have a scene like this, we'll put up crime scene to block off anybody from entering. We put out over social media requests for people to stay out of the area. And then we also contacted the media, who helped us with assisting and notifying the public. So, and if I could really quickly also, I just want to say thanks to all the first responders that responded last night. It was a tremendous effort. I'm going to go ahead and point out the Lieutenant Nicholas Sosaurus. A 26-year vet was the lieutenant that responded and initially located the suspect and took him into custody.
Was the gun legally obtained? Did he ever pass a background check?
That's just information we'll be looking for throughout the investigation.
Do we know if the victims were transported to Brownsville Hospital in the West Valley?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What hospital were the victims transported to?
All I can tell you at this time is they were transported to a local hospital.
Right now, we're still working on the details as far as charges are concerned, so you'll have to contact the county attorney's office as far as when that will take place. I do want to take this opportunity once again to recognize the men and women that were out there at Westgate. This was a very escalated situation that could have had a much more tragic turn than it did. We unfortunately did see 3 people injured in all of this, but this had the potential to take lives and certainly had the potential for more injuries. These men and women risked their lives, responded as quickly as possible, and managed to get this situation not only under control, but to apprehend the suspect at the same time. So I do want to acknowledge that when it comes to the men and women of the police department, as well as all those neighboring agencies. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. That's going to be the only update that we're going to have available today. So again, we hope you got all your questions answered. If we have any more information, we will release it. But as of right now, we're not expecting to release any more information. Thank you, guys.
All right, you have just been listening to a press conference that was held by the Glendale Police Department. Let's give you a quick recap of what happened last night at exactly 7:25 last night. 911 calls came into the police. 911 calls came in talking about an active shooter at Westgate. That's located near 95th Avenue and Glendale. Now, at that time, officers were on the scene within 5 minutes, and then that's when they apprehended the suspect. The suspect that they're talking about, 20-year-old Armando Hernandez Jr. This is what's interesting. He admitted pretty soon after that he was the shooter of this incident at Westgate last night. He said that he went to Westgate to harm 10 people because he wanted to gain respect and he felt bullied. Again, that is according to Sergeant Randy Stewart with the Glendale Police Department. When he arrived at Westgate, Hernandez allegedly scoped out the scene and then went back to his vehicle and loaded 3 rifle magazines into his black assault rifle. Now, police say Hernandez faces 16 felony charges. He could face even more charges later on, but among those charges, that includes aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, discharging a firearm, and disorderly conduct. We've got our Team 12 Joe Dana right there at the scene at the Glendale Civic Center. And Joe, what was interesting was that apparently police say that Hernandez was actually posting some social media videos of himself. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, Glendale police basically confirmed what was assumed last night, because there was this video that went online showing the shooter talking about wanting to go into Westgate, actually using a phrase like Westgate shooting 2020, I believe, and seeming to have sort of this brazen and really despicable attitude when you're watching what he's saying. And he did mention something related to I believe getting back at society, or something about society in general. And then there are different cuts in these social media videos in which the shooter then is seen in the parking lot. It's very chilling.
All right, we apologize for that technical glitch right there out of the Glendale Civic Center. But again, there was video, according to police, of the suspect who put some video of himself on social media. Glendale police is encouraging anyone with any more information, whether it's videos or pictures or what have you, to contact the Glendale Police Department. Again, the suspect arrested in this active shooter case happening at Westgate last night, Armando Hernandez Jr. Of course, we will have much more information coming up in about a half an hour on 12 News at noon, and you can get the very latest right at your fingertips on our website, 12news.com, and our free app. We'll see you then in about 30 minutes.